Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Bookshelves. I guess first off, sorry I'm a bit late, just very busy few days for Sleuth here. Anyway, about Bookshelves. So growing up, I absolutely used to adore libraries. And in my school, I actually had a phenomenal library. Actually, not hugely different from what you see in the picture there, slightly more modern to be fair. And certainly before I got to high school, GCSEs, and teenage hormones hit, I was absolutely fascinated by reading books, and I think I read probably in the first few years of my secondary school a few hundred. So I was essentially averaging about a book a week until I had other distractions in life. Anyway, today's puzzle from Willpower. It seems like it's about bookshelves. I can't quite figure it out. I think the whisper lines, which we're going to bring up in a second, are probably the shelves themselves. But let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with Bookshelves by Willpower. Rules-wise, it's normal Sudoku, Dutch whispers, KROPKI pairs, and even squares. And if you know what all of that means, link is in the description down below for you to play. On the off chance you don't, normal Sudoku, place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row. Every column, of course, and then every 3x3 box, so nothing unusual there. Dutch whispers. Numbers on red lines are at least one apart from their neighbor on the line. So if this cell is a 2, for example, this would have to be 6, 7, 8, or 9 to be... Actually, I'm going to liberally move it. This would have to be 6, 7, 8, or 9 to be 4 or more away. If I pick a 9, however, just be very careful about making the assumption that you oscillate between low digits and high digits, because you can actually place a 5 on a Dutch whisper line, because that's only 4 away. And then a 1 over here. And rather than low, high, you can see I flipped the polarity when I've used the 5. KROPKI pairs, numbers with a black dot between them, are in a ratio of 2 to 1. So essentially these two cells, one of them is going to be double the other. That could be 1 or 4 if this is a 2. And then last but not least, not all possible dots are given. So if that was indeed a 4 and this is an 8, that's absolutely fine. They're clearly in a 2 to 1 ratio, but the absence of a black dot doesn't prevent this. Then last but not least, even numbers in cells with a gray square are even, so these 4 cells have to be even digits. So they are from 2, 4, 6, or 8. So, excuse me, as always, if you want to play along, link in the description down below for you to play. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. And this certainly seemed like an excellent place to start. 2, 4, 6, or 8. Now, Dutch whispers, I remember, 2 and 4 are very tricky to be on a black KROPKI pair. And the reason for that is, these two cells are 4, 8. Essentially, if you have a 3, it would be partnered up with a 6. That's only 3 or more away. Well, exactly 3 away. It's not 4 or more away. A 2 would be partnered up with 1 or 4, which is definitely too close. So the only ones that ever work on black KROPKI dot pairs on Dutch whisper lines are 4s and 8s. That means these are not 4 8s, these are 2 6s. That means that one of them is a 3. Unclear which one just yet. Excuse me. Now, if this is a 2, I'm going to say this is impossible. Because if it is a 2, I need a high digit in here from 6, 7, 8, 9, but it also needs to be a black KROPKI dot digit. The only high digits that are black KROPKI dots are the 6s and the 8s, which are no longer available. So that is our first digit. That is a 6, that is a 3. This is now 1 or 2 to be 4 or more away from the 6, and this is going to be now 1, 2, or 4 with a definite 2 somewhere in between these two. That 6 gave me a 2 over here. This would be 1 or 4 over there. Now notice with the construction of row 4, there's definitely a 5 on this Dutch whisper line. The 5, I was going to say, is actually in the middle, but that's not true. I can have it on the end with a 1 or 9 next to it, so I can't force the 5 inside box 5. Okay, where do I go from here? Of course, that 4, 8 and that 4, 8, they have to be 4 8s to be 4 or more away. Down here now, excuse me, Essentially, I have two extreme KROPKI dot digits in column 2. Without the 3, 6, one of them is going to be 1, 2, one of them is going to be 4, 8. And obviously, I've deliberately pencil marked it the wrong way around here because that would put 3 cells that are 4s and 8s up there. That's not going to work. So that's 4, 8. That's 1, 2. This cannot be 4, 8. Again, cannot be 1, 2 pairs because again, I'll end up with a 3 in box 7. So 3 of them as in box 7 from 2 digits. So that's got to be the 3, 6 pair. Right, where else do we go from here? So I'm fairly sure I can't place a 5 in either of these. 5 in here doesn't work. It's next to 4 or 8, too close. 5 in here is also too close to 3 and 6. So 5 is in one of these two cells. 5 can actually work on this one with a 1 here, which I actually pencil marked incorrectly. Let's try that again. 5 is not here. And as a result, I can't say that was that was 3, 6. Because it absolutely could be 1, 2. Never mind. And in fact, high chance it is actually. 2, 2, no 2s, no 2s. Definite 2 in one of these 3 cells. Plus whatever partner it currently has. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1s, because that is definitely a 1, but that could be a 4, 8, 4, and therefore 4, 8. So yeah. If there is a 2 on here, 1, 4, 8, 4, yeah, it would have to be a 1. But again, it could be 3, 6. So this is not a very useful set of pencil marks, if I'm honest. 2 in here. How did I get to 2 in there? Oh, it was a 2, 6, which of course forced this to be a 1, forces this to be a 2. Places the 1 and 2 down here. So that's not going to be 3, 6 anymore because that cell can't be both of them. That can't be both a 1, 2. So that is a 1, 2. And this time I can have a 5 in here next to the 1. So yeah, that was an incorrect deduction earlier. All right, 4s and 8s are actually quite awkward on Dutch Whispers. If it's a 4, we know that's the 8. That would be the 9. If that's an 8, we know that's the 4. And this is not 1 or 2, it would have to be a 3. So it's actually quite forced. And I think if that's an 8, we're in trouble here because 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to be able to see that cell. So that gives me a direction. And a way in. And now that is definitely not a 5. That is definitely not a 5. That is a 5. And then I have 2 cells of 7 and 9. The 9 is the one that could be next to the 4. And that's the 7. 1 and 2 could be anything. And then the rest of this is 5, 6, 9, which I am going to pencil mark. That can't be a 5. That can't be a 6. That is just a 9. And that has to be the 5. Can't be a 6. That's my 6. Right. I'm waking up now. Famous last words. But, you know, I feel like I am waking up now. 7, 9. 3, 4, 5. Can have a 5 here. I could have a 9 here. So can't remove any of them. That's 9, 5. That would have to be 2 to allow a 1 here. Not brilliant. This is a black KROPKI dot digit, so it's not a 5, and it's not 4. It's 1, 2, or 3. If it's 1, that would require a 2, which isn't allowed. A 2 would be 1 or 4. A 3 would be a 6, all of which is fine. That 8 had given me, of course, the 4 and the 8 here. Excuse me. The 4 would require a 9 there. The 4 places a 1 here, removes the 1 option, so it's either 2, 4 or 3, 6. So this is a bit more straightforward. I'm kind of half tempted to pencil mark this lot. Half tempted. So it's 3, 4, 5, and 9. We are, no, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Never mind. 1, 2, 4. This is 3 or 5 over here next to the 9. You see, 3 feels problematic. The reason 3 feels problematic, and let me just illustrate it. So this would be a high digit. It would have to be a 7 to be 4 or more away because 8 and 9 are not available. Then I need another low digit, which is plenty. Sorry, it's just the 1 and 2 there confused me clearly. Not too sure. This is not 3, 4, or 5. More importantly, it's not a 5. So even if this is a 1, this is not a 5. This is a high digit of 6, 7, or 8. In fact, my 5 is just there. So in fact, this Dutch whisper line just oscillates between low and high digits. So low, high, low, 1, 2, 3, 4, high, 6, 7, 8, 9, low, 1, 2, 3, 4, high, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then low again, 1, 2, 3. It's not a 4, it's not an 8. And we can probably use this to actually figure out a few things. Lows are done. High digits are only 3. This is my third high digit of 6, 7, 9. Now the challenge we have is that the 6 can have 2 digits next to it, the 1 and 2. That can't be a 6 because the 2 neighbors, if they are 1 and 2, would break this cell. Same in here. 1, 2 around it would break this cell again. So the only place where I could have, that's not true, I could have a 6 in here and I could have a 6 in there. And then kind of this spell is broken with 1, 2, 3. There is a 4 definitely in the middle, meaning that can't be a 7, that's too close. Now a 4 in here would have an 8 and a 9. A 4 in here would have a 9 and an 8. Doesn't feel like there's enough information to progress from there. So I might leave this. Then in here I have a whole volume of digits. So 4, this is 1, 2, or 3 next to the 8. Does give me 2 low digits. If this is a third with a 3, that is a problem then, right? So if this is a 3, that would be a 7 because 8 and 9 are not available. Now, what is the low digit that will be next to this that isn't 1, 2, 3, or 4? So that is forced to be a 5 to flip the polarity, which would require a 1 in here. These are not 1s anymore. And then this is a high digit of not 8 or 9, it's 6 or 7. The 5 in here tells me no 5s, and the 5 is indeed forced in here. Because it's halfway through the Dutch whisper line, it has to be surrounded by a 1 and a 9. Anywhere else on that line would break. Now we're onto a low digit that is not 1, 2, 4, or 5, so that would be a 3. And lastly, we're back to high digits with a 7. Which gives me the 9 over here, the 8 over there. The only place that the 4 can go now, excuse me, a 6, 7 pair. Yep, not enough info to actually solve this. Am I going to pencil mark this? No, I'm going to move on. That looks like another 6, 7 pair, except it's not 6. That's 7, that's 6. These now are not 1, 2, 3, 6. They are 4, 8. Still could be a 5. See, whenever there are 5s on Dutch whispers, it is always just that little bit harder. Let's do a bit of Sudoku, shall we? No 2s. No 3. How about that? 2, 4. Not a 2. Can't be a 1. Is a 3. Is a 6. Can't be a 6 anymore. Is a 7. And therefore that is a 6. That is a 2. That is a 3. That's 1. That's 2. Definitely more Sudoku sleuth. 1 is down here. 7 is up there. 8 is on this side. And then 6 seemingly is anywhere. Now, clearly one of these is low and one of them is high. Next to the 2 it has to be the 6, then the 1, then the 7, then the 8 in here. And this is now a high digit that is not 6, 7, or 9, or 5. It is an 8. And then lastly, this is a 3. This we can just say is a straight up 6. And we largely kind of crack the back of this, so we should be able to solve it from here. So 7 is there, 4 is here, as is the 1, so that places the 5 on this side. 4, 1, 4. I think that's a 9. The 1 had given me a 2, and a 1, which removes the possibility of a 5 in here. Because if that's a 5, that's 9, and that would have to be 1. So that's not a 5. That is definitely a high digit now. That is not 6. It is 7, 8, or 9. A 4 in here actually works with 9 and 8. So it is 3, of course. This is now a low digit, and it can't be a 5 on a black KROPKI dot. So it is 2, 3, or 4. Can't be a 3 because that would have to be a 6. If it's a 2, which it can be, it would have to be a 4. If it's 4, which it can be, no, 4 can't work because it's not 2 or 8. So that's definitely 2, that's definitely 4. That's not a 4. The 2 leaves the possibility of a 7 still alive. This can't be a 5 next to the 2, so this is a high digit. We're kind of running out of them now. But this is not 6 or 8, 7 or 9 with 8 in the column. And this is my 5. So that gives me my 5, my 9, my 7, my 8. This has to be 4 or more away, so that can only be a 3. And of course, that's the 4, that's the 8. These are not 3s. In fact, that's 5, that's 4, that's 9. I think we've got most of the pencil marks except that 5, 7 pair at the top. Dutch Whispers Overs, it is, as is Black KROPKI dots. So this is purely Sudoku now, my absolute strength. So I'm going quiet because I have been struggling a bit with basics today, so just focusing on finishing it without making any more silly mistakes, which I think I can say I now have. Fantastic puzzle as always, Willpower, as we've always come to expect from you. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. It's definitely an entertaining one, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.